What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I got the chance to comb through the Steelers' defensive performance against the Texans. Definitely an ugly one. I do think that the Texans, very well coached. Bobby Slowick put together a great game plan. C.J. Stroud was really precise throughout the day. So I don't want to take anything away from them, but I do have some concerns about what I saw from the Steelers, what they put on tape. In particularly the tackling of it, because I thought that was their biggest issue on the day, is that they couldn't get out of their own way, didn't make sound fundamental plays in space, and I thought that led to several big plays on the afternoon. So going to kind of go over some of the examples, show you guys kind of what I'm talking about a little bit. Just before we get started, please make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop me a comment. All that stuff is greatly appreciated on my end. Let's get into it. All right, so this is a second down play. This is the second to last drive before the half. The Texans are going to kind of use this fast three motion, going to get the Steelers to bump the coverage over. They end up turning the number 3 receiver in the slot loose on this kind of in-breaker. Not really sure what we're trying to do coverage-wise here. It looks like they're bumping this over. I'm not sure if this is, supposed to be some type of match coverage or whatever, but you see a Landon Roberts try to initially wall off the number 3 receiver and then kind of comes off. This looks like a levels concept maybe from Houston. When he comes off, Stroud does a good job throwing this to the open void in the middle of the field. The problem that we have here is, we miss another open field tackle. And really wanted to highlight this one in particular because Keanu Neal missed 4 tackles on the day. So on the afternoon, the Steelers missed 14 tackles. That was the most they've missed this season. And it's just really hard to play defense like this. You're going to give up some plays. Teams are going to, exploit coverages, exploit weaknesses, whatever. They're going to have good play calls. But the key is, to not allow these yards after the catch. So instead of, you get a first down, whatever, you stop this guy 10 yards. You miss the tackle in the open field, and then that 10-yard gain turns into a 20-yard gain. Without a doubt, the most frustrating sequence for the Steelers defense on the afternoon came right before halftime. The Texans get the ball back with 41 seconds left, no timeouts. Credit to the Texans for being aggressive in this situation, up 13-0, because a lot of coaches would probably go into the halftime content with that lead, but they did a good job, pushing the ball down the field and taking some chances. But the Steelers, this is one of those examples I'm talking about with not getting out of their own way. The Texans are just running kind of a Hank concept. You get curl flats on both sides of the field. Stroud is going to pick the right side of the field. Against cover 3, we go over this play all the time. I feel like it's in every team's playbook, but this is a good call for this coverage. But at the end of the day, you're playing cover 3 in this situation to keep the ball in front of you. You're going to let these quarterbacks, especially without any timeouts, you're going to let them throw the ball underneath, and you just come rally and tackle. A 10-yard completion right here doesn't really hurt them all that much. But you see exactly what happens. We miss a couple tackles, and instead of allowing a 10-yard curl route to be complete, you end up with a 40-yard gain. Nico Collins is going to come up here, stop, break back to the quarterback. Good throw from Stroud. Throwing with anticipation. He meets the football. We've got 2 defenders right here. Mika Fitzpatrick whiffs on a tackle. Joey Porter Jr. whiffs on a tackle. And then, DeMonte Casey finally brings this guy down inside the 40-yard line. At that point in time, you've given up 40 yards, and the Texans are already in field goal range. I mean, granted, it's a long field goal, but for a team that doesn't have any timeouts, that is a back-breaking type of error on the defensive end. So following the big completion of Collins, the Texans run up to the ball. They spike it. I believe there's like 25 seconds left in the half right here. They're going to motion over the tight end. They're going to run a little quick screen to the wide receiver, and you see more of the same in terms of tackling from the secondary. I think this is, again, Keanu Neal missing a tackle in open space. They're just going to run this quick screen to Collins. Got blockers in front. Keanu Neal does a good job, sifting around this blocker who is a little out of control, isn't able to target him correctly, gets around the block and just dives at somebody's feet, little arm tackle, and Collins runs right through it. And then, instead of a really long field goal right before the half, they get it down to the 20-yard line, essentially for NFL kickers. These are chip shots. So it's these type of mistakes that they're making on the defensive end that are really, I don't want to say unforced errors, but they're things that they absolutely have to clean up. The secondary is dealing with some issues right now in terms of, what they're doing coverage-wise. But I also think that, you expect some of these veterans that they have in the room to tackle better than this. And it's a little bit frustrating to see, especially when you allow, an easy field goal attempt when an offense with a rookie quarterback gets the ball back with 40 seconds left in the half and you allow them to go down and, kick a chip shot field goal. That's a tough one to swallow, especially for a defense that has so many veteran players on that side of the ball. Just another example right here, first down in the fourth quarter. The game's pretty much out of control at this point with the Texans up 23-6, but I do think it highlights just another example of kind of the similar things that we're seeing like week over week, especially with particular players. I don't really want to continue to harp too much on Levi Wallace because I feel like I've picked on him a bunch over the first month of the season or so. But it's every week where I feel like we're having to show these examples of like him getting picked on in run defense. So the Texans are going to run this kind of like toss counter almost. They're going to run this tight end across the formation, almost like a split zone type of flow. Highsmith does a good job coming from the backside. He overruns the play a little bit and ends up bumping into the tight end. But even as the cornerback, you're supposed to stay outside. You are the contained person on this play. You see Wallace coming up. He's got a one-on-one chance with the running back. He allows the running back to get outside of him. Again, you need to funnel this back inside towards your help. You got pursuit players coming from the middle of the field, coming from the core of the defense. You need to stay outside shoulder and attack this with good leverage and good technique, and he just lets him get outside of him. Misses the tackle, ends up trying to arm tackle, falls down. This is kind of just some of the similar things. I mean, this is a lot like the Jerome Ford run that he ripped off for, like a 70-yard touchdown or whatever in week 2. Wallace in general is really struggling on the perimeter right now in the run game and in coverage. So when your corners aren't particularly covering extremely well, which I think is the case right now for Patrick Peterson and Levi Wallace, it's also frustrating when they're not playing the run very well either, because those are absolutely, 100% guaranteed things that you expect from veteran corners. Just to kind of play this one again, just needs to do a better job of maintaining, contain on this play. Instead of having a guy on 1st and 10, you get him in the backfield maybe, second long situation, you allow this back to get outside of you. And then, this turns into an 8 or 9 yard gain. And this is part of the reason that the Steelers, only 3 NFL teams right now have given up more rushing yards on the perimeter, like outside the tackles. And the reason for that is because their players in the secondary right now aren't tackling very well in space. And that leads to explosive plays or, even plays like this that aren't necessarily explosives, but they go from, negative plays to near first downs. All right, frustrating performance. I do appreciate y'all watching the video, though. Appreciate the support on the channel. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, comment on the way out. If you guys are interested in some more film breakdowns, obviously you can check out yesterday's video about the offense. You can also go to SteelersNow.com. I did an article about some of the stuff that the Texans did from a schematic standpoint to kind of go after some of the Steelers' tendencies